I've heard you've fallen out of a tree stand or two before.
That's the rumor.
So,
One of the most wild experiences of my life.
all right. Hey, dear Driven viewers, welcome to our first podcast type version of a video here. I'm Chad Culpepper. I'm going to kind of be hosting the show today. And you guys have a treat today. You get to hear from Sherman Hartzler right here, the founder, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who's really behind everything Deer Driven, from most of the video content, all the editing, the brains, everything. I'm looking forward to the show today. What we're going to be doing here, we wanted to give you guys a chance to get to know Deer Driven, and hopefully we'll do a few of these podcast type shows and bring more members of the Deer Driven team on so that you guys can get to know them. I know a lot of the time when we're out in the field, we don't spend as much time kind of introducing who these people are and kind of their backstory and what got them into hunting. So this is the kind of stuff I really like to do, and so wanted to take a moment here to get to know Sherman a little bit. So Sherman, one of the things I wanted to give the viewers a chance to hear from is, why Deer Driven? Like, what was your reason for starting up a channel?
Well, really, I just wanted to capture a lot of our experiences in the woods, and our family has always been a hunting family, starting with Dad. His dad didn't really hunt, other than rabbits here and there growing up, but Dad kind of got into archery and turkey hunting and everything else, and it seems like for the most part deer hunting is kind of one of the main focuses, and that's what really gets us excited to go out in the woods and experience and have all of those experiences with family members, and so Deer Driven is that kind of drives us, especially in the fall. We love to hunt turkeys in the spring and do fishing and other stuff.
It's literally like Christmas come early around the Hartzler household for sure.
Yes, it is.
So, how long have you been hunting? Like, what are your first memories of being out in the woods, and like when did you know like you were deer driven? Like, what earliest memories?
I mean, I remember shooting my first deer. It was a button buck when I was like 9, and I honestly don't remember how excited I was. I remember vaguely the experience, but I do know that I was pretty hooked on hunting in general from the very beginning. I remember my first turkey hunt pretty well. My dad called in a Jake that was gobbling at us over a hill, came in half strut, ready to fight the decoy, and I pounded it with a 20 gauge.
Nice.
And I was definitely hooked on turkey hunting at that point.
Yeah.
And deer hunting just kind of was a progression from when I was young and got started.
And so when you were 9, you shot one with a rifle or a bow?
It was with a rifle.
Okay. When was your first bow buck?
In 8th grade, my first time ever going into the woods, Dad pushed one to me while he was squirrel hunting.
Really?
I shot it standing by a tree about 5 yards, so that was amazing.
So I can't help but ask, I've heard you've fallen out of a tree stand or two before.
That's the rumor.
So, like, tell me what happened. And I hear there was actually, like, some success after falling out of the tree. So
one of the most wild experiences of my life, for sure.
So tell us about it, yeah.
It was also 8th grade year, so I had shot my very first archery deer earlier that year, and it was the rut. Me, Ruben, and Dad were out on a 40-acre piece hunting the rut. I was in my own tree stand, and this thing is not low. I mean, 15 feet off the ground or so, and we didn't grow up wearing harnesses, and sometimes we still slack on that department, but we do what we can. And
stay safe. Like, you should wear a harness.
So I'm sitting in the tree stand, and I hear some chasing, and sure enough, here comes this doe running through the woods. She's coming by at about 20 yards, and I'm not super experienced in deer hunting at this point, but I know enough to know that means something good is coming behind her.
Yeah.
And so sure enough, here comes this 9-point. It looked like a monster to me. It was the biggest deer I'd ever seen at that point. Comes dogging her right through the woods. right in front of my tree, 15-yard shot probably. And so one of the key points where we went wrong, and apparently I was not corrected when learning archery, is I was trying to pull a draw weight that was way heavier than I should have been pulling.
Didn't you have one of these deals where you had to help your hand, like by using your head to pull the string?
I used my neck. I'd push on my bicep in order to pull that string back with my right arm. And that's how I practiced. I mean, it wasn't just because I was cold. That's how I practiced every day. Because I thought that you had to pull as much as you possibly could.
So if you've got a young kiddo out there who's having trouble pulling his bow back, that's the Shermanator trick. You got to push your face into your bicep to help you pull the string
Just make
back.
sure you're wearing a harness if you do that.
Right, that too. Okay, so
yeah. So you might be able to see where this is going. I mean, my head is in my arm, so I can't see anything. Standing on a platform about this big. And yeah, I started to lose my balance. I mean, I had my adrenaline was pumping like crazy.
I'm sure your legs weren't shaking or anything.
Legs were completely solid, so I don't know how I fell. And so, yeah, I started feeling myself going over the edge. I instinctively let go of the arrow, had no idea where it went or if it hit the deer or anything. And, I mean, falling is just is way different than you would imagine it to be when it actually happens.
Right.
Like, it feels like it takes forever, yet you hit the ground without being able to, like, do anything. Like, it's so fast at the same time. Luckily, I hit and rolled because there was a little bit of a decline in the hill, and it broke the stabilizer off of my bow, but I was okay. I wasn't hurt at all. This is like 15 feet up in a tree. Like, you could die easily.
Right,
falling out of that tree stand.
Terrible stories about, guys falling from that far.
Yeah, so I was very, very lucky. But I was so in the zone that I immediately hopped up, knocked another arrow, and the buck was still like 45 yards off.
These are the kinds of stories that I heard about Sherman Hartzler when I was in high school. We heard about this like legend of a kid, this just little warrior of a hunter. But okay.
So I pop up on my knees, and I came back to full draw. There was trees in between us and whatever, so there was no chance. So I didn't shoot. And he took off, and might have shed a few tears. Just so emotional for so many reasons at that point.
Well, yeah, you saw you closing the deal. You probably would have shot him if you would have still been up there.
I probably would have killed that buck.
Yeah.
And so I'm real worked up. I go back to the car, and of course Ruben and Dad aren't there because it's like 8 a.m. It was still early.
Prime time.
And I'm sitting there, and I notice that there's a doe not too far from my stand, out in the field again, not too long after I got back to the car. So I was like, man, this is dumb. Why am I not in the tree stand still? So
how old were you at this point?
8th grade. So
8th grade?
13 or 14.
13, 14 years old.
So I'm like, what the heck?
Stick with it, kids. Yeah.
I walked back across the field, probably like 300 yards, climbed back up in the tree stand, same tree I was in, and probably 10 minutes later, here comes these two bucks, 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
One of them was just a mainframe 8, and this other one that I ended up shooting was a little bit of a non-typical, but pretty cool buck for the first one.
Yeah.
And he came by at about 10 yards, and I put it in him and got down and had to go tell that exact story to Dad and Ruben. Not sure if they believed it at the time, but we ended up tracking it and tracked it about half a mile and ended up finding him.
At the end of the day, you were successful.
Yeah.
So
yes, I was.
Yeah, that's a very unusual, but glad you were safe. You were able to hop back up there, and then you sealed the deal, man.
Sealed the deal. I imagine I still pulled it back with my head.
I actually saw that trick quite a few times whenever I first started dating my wife Emma, which is Sherman's sister. But I remember seeing the Sherman bicep pull there. So
we got that resolved not too long after that hunt.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you've actually fallen out of a stand how many times?
One other time.
We'll
save that for another day. Okay. That was last year. It wasn't my fault this time.
Tree stand malfunction. One.
And I'm okay yet again. It's crazy.
Yeah. We'll save that one for next time. Believe it or not, we really do wear our harnesses quite often. They're just couple times you haven't. Didn't work out well. So
Yeah.
make sure that you guys are wearing your harness out there. All right. Well, in addition to just getting to know you a little bit, Sherman, I thought we would also give the viewers just kind of a preview for 2021, just what all things that they might be seeing on the Deer Driven channel. Hopefully we'll do a few more episodes like this where we, kind of bring on some Deer Driven members and get to know them a little bit more.
And let us know if you guys want to see more of that
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, please do let us know. That helps us know kind of what to shoot for. So in the comments below, make sure to one, like the video here, like all of our videos, and then post in the comments. It really does help us. Sherman especially, I know that you spend a lot of time thinking about what the viewers want to see.
Exactly.
And putting in a lot of hours. So we want to put up stuff that you guys are interested in. So please leave us some comments. So it's what's today's date? It's March 16th. Yesterday was the opener of snagging season here in Missouri. So we've talked about maybe doing that. But in here this year, kind of what can the viewers expect from the channel coming up this year?
Well, to kick off the year, really, a week from tomorrow, me and Dad are going to be heading to Nebraska. They have their archery turkey season opens on that day, and Dad's getting a tag, I'm getting a tag, Tyler's going to get a tag, and Tyler will be up there later, and we're going to be hunting them pretty hard. Their season lasts all the way through the end of May, and so we'll hunt early and late, and then the middle of their season will be Missouri's turkey season, so we'll be here for those 3 weeks. And between all that, me and Chad have talked about maybe chasing some walleye at some point. No guarantees. Hopefully doing some snagging. Obviously, lots of turkey hunts. And I don't know. What else did we talk about?
Catching crappie whenever the spawn is on or something like that. Missouri really is pretty good about just the diversity of hunting and fishing experiences, where our hunting seasons they last quite a while. So there's this period right now seems to be the biggest lull, where there's not a whole lot going on, but it's about to heat up. Yep. So crappie season.
Yep. And then once turkey season ends, we'll probably do a trot lining video or two, and those are always quite the experience. We call them a pleasant misery.
I try to, if I go like once a year. I try and spread it out over a couple years.
Yeah.
No sleep. You're like eating mosquitoes. They're so thick.
Wallowing in the mud.
And then we're talking about bringing cameras out there. So with all that light, it's going to, be a mosquito attractor. So, but yeah, that would be cool.
Yep. And then next fall, very first time that we will have ever gone out west and done this, we're planning an elk hunting trip.
Yeah.
Chad's getting a tag. Darren's getting a tag. I'm going to be going along. We're not sure if anyone else is going or not, but we are going to go chase some elk, and so we're getting really excited about that. Chad's been doing a whole bunch of bugling in the house. And,
it doesn't really resemble an elk, but I've been practicing, and
my
wife's getting sick of it, to be honest.
He's getting there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, deer season coming up. And we'd like to do a lot of other videos this summer. So also, again, if you have ideas, drop those in the comments, because we do want to try and keep content coming for you guys as consistently as we can. Our goal is weekly, but it's not a guarantee, of course. But yeah, should be some good stuff coming for 2021.
All right. Well, guys, I hope that this was helpful for you guys to get to know the brains behind Deer Driven, the guy who's spending all these man hours, out in the woods. He spends more time in the woods than anybody I know. And just wanted to get you guys a little bit of a chance to get to know Sherman better and get a snapshot or a preview of the season coming up. We hope you liked our video. You guys have a great day.
Audio's working good. We're in focus. Got the lighting. I guess we're ready. I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for this.
We'll figure it out, man.